Hello everybody, Brian here for quantlabs.net. Just want to show you what I'm about to show you is generated from my motorway process for data coming in from both Oanda and Forex pairs, the best performing with predictable trend. This is all from Oanda, the Forex broker. Also, these are going to give you the best view globally of hot capital flow. That's why I do it. It's important, it's predictable, and it's correct. Alright, so let me show you what we're talking about here. This is in my current blog, private blog for my members. This will have the same format in Substack, my QuantLabs Substack account for subscribers. There'll be two reports daily. This is going to be the first one. So I just want to show you, these are separated by a maybe. Some of these will show you the exact trend underway or have been underway for a couple of days, and you can decide if you want to take part in those trades. Now, one of the things in my higher tiers of the levels of my Substack account, you can get invited to the TradingView scripts that I'm making available. You get an invite and you can choose whatever script you want to apply any of these of interest for you to automate your trading. These can be traded as long as the markets are open on your Forex account. As I said, I'm using Oanda. You can do it on Forex.com and any of the other supported Forex brokers found on TradingView. So let's get started. So I'll start here at the top, and remember these are separated up by that maybe. So these are the current ones for August 24th. Okay, so this is a first sample of just showing you how this works. Usually I'll just put up the list I just showed you. There's really no accompanying video. It's pretty self-explanatory for what you want. Okay, so let's look at the first one here, which is gold in Canada, in Canadian dollars. Now, I've talked about this before on my account on TradingView. What's important to know, it really matters what currency you hold gold in. So in this case, this is US dollar. Gold and Canadian dollar. Now, in terms of performance, this is what you can expect as a difference. So if you compare gold in US dollar, this is what you can expect. You can see that difference there is between actually negative 1% versus where Canada is giving you a positive 0.19%. Now, I could also show you, this is another one here, is gold in Swiss franc. This might be a little better. So again, you can see there, as I said, whatever currency you hold gold in can matter. So you can see there better performance with the Swiss franc over the last couple of days. Again, this is an hourly view. So if I was to put this down to 4-hour view, you can see right there you're getting into negative 3% with gold in Swiss franc and gold in US dollar. In this case, gold in Swiss franc is a big loser since, well, let's say we do a monthly view of it. Yeah, you can see here that gold, just in the last month, that in the Swiss franc it would have given you a one less loss than US dollar. Doesn't mean it's the best to hold in, but just to give you an idea. But either way, the gold is performing quite well. So as I go through this, we've got gold and euro as well. But either one, those currencies outside the US are beating quite significantly. This one's 2.4% in the last month of holding in euro versus US dollar. So you can see there, like, you cannot deny that. Okay, so another one we can take a look at is platinum, but this time it's in US dollar. So in this case, we've got, okay, so you're starting to see how platinum's starting to exceed gold in US dollar. Let's see how that's been doing over the last month. And it really depends. Now, will this, so that's a one-day view right there. It's actually positive. Just depends upon what's important to you. All right, so there's that. So let me get rid of this comparison. There might be some other gold pairs as well. in different currencies, but I'm just showing you all of that right now. So the first currency pair I'm going to show you is the Polish zloty, if I got that pronunciation right. This is euro in Polish as well. So you can see here it's always Oanda, so you could trade this quite easily on Oanda if you want, directly out of your TradingView account. You can see here it's kind of been moving up. It's come off a steep decline here in this pair, and you can see it's starting to weaken again. The Polish zloty. This one's been looking pretty good. What I'm finding is this one is one of the first of Scandinavian currencies, Swedish krona. You can see there on a daily view, nice trend there. And this is when the markets go. This is to show you when the markets go bad. It's these kind of currencies, from what I'm seeing, up until last few days. I would have said currencies where you're only defensive, but as I've shown you, gold is starting to turn around and perform, which is rare. So something's going on there in the global markets. You won't hear about that in the news. You can only find these in the charts and know about them as well. So this one is an important pair. So when the markets go bad, and I've shown this many times, this pair, the USD Japanese yen. So we're a daily view. This is when the Bank of Japan tried to control the yield curve, and it's fully recovered and should continue its upswing. So what's important to know, if I show you the 5-year, you can see here how it's just gone up a lot. So if I was to compare that against your usual, I don't know, gold, let's say, let's see how that's been doing. Gold, so gold has been outperforming the yen quite a bit. But when you look at, let me see here if I can show you 1 year, let's say. So you could see basically, well, I'll have to do a 5-year here. So what's important to understand here for last year, you can see how the yen has gone up. Okay, so it's gone up quite a bit. Such a defensive for last year when everything went bad in the yen. Okay, so these are hints over time that you can see when things go bad, what to invest into safely and be able to get a decent return. Another one for last year was this one, is the DXY. Okay, so again, let me just pull up the DXY. So this is the US dollar currency index. So you can see here, same thing happened for all of 2022, and that was a good bump up. But the better one is definitely the USD and Japanese yen. And look what happened to the gold of last year, just declined. So when you throw in, lastly, let's say the SPX, we know about this, or SPY might be better. You can see here in, I think this is a SPY. Which one's a SPY right here? So this one right here is the SPY. You can see it's been a steady decline. While, as I said, DXY, and the best one to hold is the US dollar and Japanese yen. So if things get bad, that's what I'd move to. Gold is not as reliable as you might want. You can see here already that gold's been pretty well flat for the last good year to date, compared to better performance with the Japanese yen. Okay, just so you know. And that is due to all kinds of things for gold, suppression, call it whatever you want. But as I keep saying, numbers don't lie, the charts don't lie, no matter what stuff you hear about on the news channels or YouTube or whatever. Yen is what you want to be in, US yen. Okay, so that's why I talk about the most. The next one we have here that's been performing okay is the euro, and again, this is another Scandinavian currency. So it just shows you pretty well the clean balance sheet of these countries. So they're starting to perform a little better despite the volatility. Something I wouldn't hold entirely compared to the yen, USD yen. As just again as a comparison, you see how just the USD Japanese yen just blows it out the water. Okay, so next one we have is gold in New Zealand as well. Just another currency, so that's not too bad from June. Here it's 2019. Nice steady. When you compare that to, let's say, gold in USD, this is important to know. Okay, this is what I also noticed. You can see here that the declines are a lot steeper for gold and US dollar right here, while New Zealand somewhat really hasn't declined a whole lot. Like here's another good one, here's another good one. So gold in New Zealand has just performed much better. So you got 81%. I believe this is a 5-year view. 81% gold in New Zealand versus gold in US dollar. Again, you're not going to hear about that in the YouTubes, the Kitco, and all that. So again, you only get that via my type of service to get the extra oomph that you want, instead of holding it in US dollar, because the US dollar can just decline faster and deeper versus a more stable, as I've shown you, the yen and also the New Zealand dollar. Again, these don't lie. Okay. All right. So let me get rid of. Let me go back to the daily view and see it better. Right here. Yeah, I can see that boost a little better with the New Zealand dollar. So if you were to buy and hold, you might want to hold gold in New Zealand dollar. All right, so just another important note. Again, you can't lie to that. Another one is gold in Singapore. This is probably a little more stable than the US dollar again, but it's not your best one. Gold. Okay, so again, this is another important Scandinavian currency. You're noticing you're not seeing a lot of the stock market recently. It's only Forex and gold. Okay, so you can see this is very volatile. Depending upon what's going on in the market, yeah, you see how the Swedish krona has performed pretty nicely, 10.20 to 10.966. Not a lot, but if you got some predictability and you're willing to put some leverage on it, you could probably do okay. I wouldn't do it, but some do. So the next one we got here is once again USD Japanese yen. We've talked about Euro DKK. So again, gold and Australian dollar. To be truthful, I think the gold, and again, when you compare it to US dollar, let me go back to the comparison. Gold and Australian dollar here, you can see they're almost double since I think that's 1 year. Yeah, so you would have doubled your return just holding gold in Australian dollar. And when you compare that to gold in New Zealand dollar, so you would probably want gold in Australian. Now let me just throw in the Canadian because that's been recently the best performing, but just out of curiosity. Gold and Canadian. So not quite, only 14% versus in Australia. Now again, let's just get rid of these. And the cool one that you would hold would have been historically. This one blows most people's doors off of when they see this. Gold and Turkish lira. You can see it's 55% versus 18% against gold and Australian dollar. Now what's happening here with the Turkish lira, that trade is no longer valid. Why? Because they brought in a new financial minister in Turkey, and they're doing their job to strengthen the Turkish lira to prevent the lira from declining over time. So that's what you're seeing there. So that trade is pretty well done, I think. Unfortunately, but there, like that was probably the trade of the century, to be truthful. Okay, so the next one we have here is what I find interesting about these kind of relationships. When countries are in the same region, these can do fairly well. Again, you can see that trend there, 98 to 107. But again, these are what you want to you're careful of, because this is Japanese yen. Again, that's a Bank of Japan intervening, but still doesn't help. All right, so another Scandinavian that's been fairly consistent. This is an interesting one because USD in Norway, see here's performing. That could be also indirectly an oil trade, but what's happened with Norway is they've pretty well got transferred out of the oil industry as a generator for their country, and now have turned a sovereign wealth fund to over $1 trillion. That's really put Norway for financial security for their citizens, and that's really helped them out to diversify. So when you see a lot of these big IPOs, like Porsche was a big one, only two beneficiaries of that were Qatar and Norway for the Porsche IPO, just as an example. All right, so another one to pay attention to. Okay, so now we're moving into the maybes. Okay, so here we're moving into the maybes, and you'll see why they're maybes. Okay, so let's get to those. So there's lots of choice here, which is good. So the first one here under maybe is a euro check. So again, Owanda. I wouldn't, like, if you're looking for a trend, 23 to 24 is nothing to write home about, but you know, what can you do, right? Euro and Japanese yen. You think that this might do well, which it has. Again, well, let me just pull up the comparison here of the USD against Japanese yen. There's just better performance with the US dollar, it seems. Actually, I'm wrong. Wow. 13% versus 5.21%. That is impressive. Again, so let's do a 5-year view. So you can see here, yes, the yen, USD, Japanese yen outperformed it, but that steeper decline when the Bank of Japan intervened. But here you can see when they did it in this period, not only did the euro Japanese yen recover faster, it's starting to outperform. Or actually, my mistake. Yeah, so you see there the USD Japanese yen has outperformed by 7%. So that answers that. And again, when you look at all of last year, because the euro struggled last year, it went up a little bit, but it just went up a lot all of last year, up until here in October, when the market started to move up. Then obviously the yen may have suffered there. Anyways, but that's just an observation. Okay, so the next one we have here is an interesting one, is the USD Thai baht. Now, this one's another really good example currency. Obviously, I think they really depend on tourism. And again, Owanda. Okay, let me get rid of that. So you can see here, last year did very well. Another really decent trade, 31 to 38, and a big tank there. I think that might have been some of the opening up, might have had an effect on that, or here. But either way, this was a really interesting currency to watch. Okay, so let's go into oil. Oil. I've talked about that a lot on my account on TradingView, the ideas. So here's the thing for daily view year to date. As you can see here, we had a nice increase daily of oil. It drops back, and here we are on BCO. So that's all. This flatness is all due to oil base. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. We don't want that. BCO. Yeah, I always have problems finding this. Brent crude oil Owanda. That's it. US dollar. Okay, so there we go. So you can see here we had a really good run up of oil. You know, from 72 to 87, and it's dropped back. This drop is just due to half of the imports for oil and production need for oil worldwide is China. So because their economy is in trouble, oil price has been affected by that. And also what's been happening is that Venezuela and Iran have been pumping out oil for the last while, so that suppresses the price as well. So when you look at that's year to date, let's look at the 1 year. So not quite the high here, as you can see here in 2022. Oil's not what it was over the last couple of weeks. But when you look at the all right here, this is the interesting part, is oil went up right in the mecca, in the, not peak, but early stages of the financial crisis in '08, right? So here we could see it pump up for whatever reason, but this was just the early times that as China, as it was really starting to come alive during that time. But here we're not seeing it, just so you know. Next one. Okay, so we can easily say that WTI and Brent crude are pretty well the same. So right here, boom, boom, oops, they're pretty well in line. So if you're going to do Brent crude or WTI, that's fine. But they're pretty well close to being aligned. But you can see here we're getting more, just a slight better performance of Brent crude versus WTI. So let's say year to date. See there, actually WTI is outperforming by a little bit, maybe just under 1%. Okay, so there's that. And again, remember I talked about the relationship between countries, their currencies that are close to each other. Here's another example: Hong Kong dollar and Japanese yen. It's another one that's fairly interesting. Let me get rid of that. You can see that's a nice steady trend, right? 1660 to 1862. So that started in April. Okay, these are easy trades, predictable trades, if you're into that. But when you look at, let's say, the last 5 days, you can see it's already come alive again. It will last a little while. So this is when you know your global economy is in real dire straits. When you start to see either the Turkish lira, or as I showed you with the Turkish lira, how it was outperforming for probably years. You also have the South African rand, and just since here, August 23rd, actually, daily. You know, when you start to see this happen, just taking off, despite all of these dips, that just says something about the overall economy of the global economy, that is. Okay, so here's India. So this is USD against the rupee. Okay, so Similar idea to the rupee, but you see how it's gone flat. Funny thing is, I was able to get the performance of the Indian exchanges, stock exchanges, but they're not showing up for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, there is some weakness here, quite a bit of weakness from 70 to 80 over the last few years, and it's gone flat. So this is the overall. Is it the overall state of the Indian economy? I don't know. I'm hearing it's exploding, but again, the charts don't lie, right? So what do you want me to do? Okay, so next one we have is the Canadian Japanese yen. All right, let me just stick with the Oanda source. Similar pattern as I've shown before. USD against comparing against the USD Japanese yen. You see, it's pretty well in line with each other. So for liquidity purposes, I'd probably just stick with the USD and Japanese yen. USD Singapore. Just it's been flat, as you can see here. The yen, USD yen, is just kind of way better to stick to. Now this one is the pound. Sorry, the British pound against the dollar. So let me get rid of this. This is the nice thing about TradingView, how you can compare currencies against each other or anything really. You can see there since 2023, it's just really been a nice steady move up, and you get some occasional dips, but that's pretty significant. $1.88 to $2.12, and it's been fairly significant unless there's some kind of crash here. But let me just pull up maybe a 5-day or a 1 month. So it's been in decline since short term. But again, depends if you want to buy and hold, it's up to you. Pound against the Japanese yen. You can see why these are maybes, because they did show performance. And generally, they've been declining in this case here since August 23rd. That's why it's I consider it a maybe. Will it come back? I don't know, but there was a nice run up here. You can see here nice stability to that in the yen, not very volatile. That's why a lot of the wealthy, I keep mentioning wealthy like the yen because of this. Citadel, Buffett are reopening new offices lately in the last couple of months in Japan because their economy is showing some strength, and a lot of it's driven by just this performance of no volatility as compared to I've shown with the US dollar. So we've got two more. So this is the franc, Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. Again, stable, not really performing a whole lot. We can see that decline as I've shown before. And then lastly is the the British pound against the Polish zloty in this case. And again, similar pattern, but not much there. Now, again, I just wanted to show you, this is what you can expect in the Substack. So if you were to go over to my Substack account, I'm just pulling it up here. I've got the new pricing available. Let's see here. Okay, so if you come, well, you have to log in. You have to be a subscriber to see this, okay? You have to be a subscriber on my Substack to see this pricing. So let me just see if it will take me to where I want to go. No, it won't. Okay, no problem there. If you become a subscriber and just go to this link here, quantlabs.substacks.com/subscribe, you can see here the new pricing. This is in Canadian dollar. So it's really $47 for the monthly. So in there you'll get access to the daily reports I've just shown you. This is the Forex CFD view from Oanda. You'll also, through my blog get the ETF analytics and access to the private TradingView script on a monthly basis. And then you upgrade to the annual or the founding member, which gives you access to, I got to actually fix this. So you will get access to the courses that I've got. There's about 7 of them, plus my 10-year archive for everything I do. And this can be billed through Substack, so it's only taking credit card, which is issued through Stripe. That's pretty well it. So if you come to quantlabs.substack.com, subscribe, you'll see an updated list of the subscription plans for what you want. We'll have sales here and here and here. This price will go up, this price will go up. This probably will go up over in the long run, but these two will immediately be going up fairly soon, just so you know. And that's the monthly and annual. Okay, so again, monthly is going to right now $47 a month, and then the annual goes up to $4.99. That's pretty well it. Thanks for watching.